What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Raise It Podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to the show. So today I want to speak to you about the movie called Five Nights at Freddy's. It is based off the video game. You probably might have played this video game when you were young, like me. I played Five Nights at Freddy's, the third game, on the iPod. I remember playing it, but I have actually uninstalled it probably like in a week or so. It was a very popular game at the time, and now, years later, they decided to make a movie out of it. But not just any type of movie, a horror movie. So today I'm going to speak to you about if this movie was actually good or not. And to be honest, guys, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I had to say, I'm in the middle with this one. It was okay. It wasn't the best movie, but it wasn't the worst at all. So, let's just start with the main actors. Josh Hutcherson. I remember watching him in the Bridge to Terabithia movie and also in the Sothora movie. He played as the older brother named Walter. And he also came out on the movie's called The Hunger Games. He plays as the character named Peter. You probably might know of him because of The Hunger Games. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you might have known him since Sothora, like me. But it's been a while since I have seen this guy. And finally, he made a return to Hollywood. He's been gone for some time, but now he is back. And also, the second main guy that I know for this movie, it is Matthew Lillard. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. But he is the guy who plays as Stu in Scream. Where I saw him first was in the movie called Scooby-Doo. He plays as the character named Shaggy. That's where I recognized him from the beginning. That was the first time I ever saw him on a movie. I remember seeing him in the Scooby-Doo movies, and now he has come back to act again in Five Nights at Freddy's. It's been a long time. He really hasn't made as many movies, but now he's back. Well, hopefully he just stays around and makes more movies. But yeah, these are the two main guys that I know of. And now let's get into the story for this movie. So basically, Josh Hutcherson's character named Mike, he is supposedly trying to find a job so he can support his sister. And like his aunt, he's trying to take away his sister from him. Josh Hutcherson's character, he's been traumatized since he was young. Ever since he was young, there was a small gathering that his family had. But the thing is, his brother got kidnapped by somebody. He didn't recognize who it was. Like, he mentioned in the movie that his memories have been buried deep. And he doesn't really remember who he was because he was very young and doesn't really remember. And so, his brother was never really found. Yeah. His younger brother, was taken and was never really found. They never really found the kidnapper nor his brother. And so he's been traumatized ever since. Like in the job that he had as a security officer at the mall, he saw like a kid. It looked like he was being kidnapped by some guy. But it turns out that was the actual father for the kid. Yeah. That was what you saw in the beginning of the movie. Like in the first, I'll say 10 minutes of the movie. But you also get to see the security officer that was taking care of the Freddy's place. And also, he got killed, supposedly. The security guard got killed. And we never got to see the officer ever again. And so his manager, Matthew Lillard's character, he told him that there was this job that he can do, but it's a night shift job. At first, Mike could not take any night shifts because I don't know, he just probably didn't feel like it, or maybe it was too hard for him. But it turns out to be his only last option. There were no other jobs available because he needed to get a job to support his sister, his younger sister. He actually has two sisters. I'm not sure, probably he was the oldest out of the siblings, or maybe he had the other sister as well. But like that sister, yeah, she was bad news as well. She was bad news just like the aunt. Both of them just wanted Mike to not take care of the little sister anymore, because supposedly the aunt, she just wanted to take care of the younger sibling, and also with his other sister, they would have gotten money. That part I didn't kind of understood it, because I don't know, I was a bit confused at that part. But anyways, going forward with the story, just like how the movie says, Mike actually stays in this place. Well, he actually works at this place for 5 nights, 5 night shifts. The first night, nothing really much happened. Like every single time that he was there, he falls asleep. Yeah, that's the thing. If you work night shifts, you probably might want to take a nap or something, but you're not supposed to. But nobody was around, so he was the only person on that building, or so he thought. What he dreamed about was the same nightmare that he always had, was that his brother, his younger brother, got kidnapped by somebody. And he was also chasing this car, and this car just kept going and going. And once he stopped, he turned around and he saw these 5 kids. These 5 kids, they disappeared. They actually have something to do with the robots that are on that place. I'll tell you in a bit. And now I'll let you know about the cop lady. I was a bit surprised about her. Like, it seemed a little bit confusing on why she kept on searching this place. Like, she always was around the Freddy's place. It turns out that this cop lady, she knew who the kidnapper was, the one who stole Mike's brother, because it turns out that the cop lady was the actual daughter of the kidnapper. And also, this was somewhat confusing, but it kind of makes sense in the Freddy's universe, I guess. But those robots, they actually had a ghost on them, living ghosts. And those ghosts were actually the kids that were kidnapped by the kidnapper. And the kidnapper was actually his manager the whole time. Matthew Lillard's character. He was the kidnapper. Well, I want to say I was surprised, but there weren't that many options left to know that this was him. This was the guy that was kidnapping everybody. What I would say about the robots, I like to say that I like the designs. They look just quite the same like how it is in the video games. And I like how the animatronics look like. But there's this other movie that has come out with starring Nicolas Cage. It's called Willy's Wonderland or something like that. But that movie, I don't know. I gotta say, man, I kind of prefer that movie more than Five Nights at Freddy's. Don't get me wrong. Five Nights at Freddy's had its moments, but like, it had better action scenes, I guess. Like, I guess you could say that for Willy's Wonderland movie. Like, it wasn't really a horror movie. Well, I guess you can say it's an action horror type of movie. But this one, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, was supposed to be just a horror movie itself. But I wasn't really scared of this movie at all. The babysitter that was babysitting the younger sister, she actually went to Freddy's place, and she went with her boyfriend, I believe, and their friends, so they can trash the place, and they will be able to get money from the aunt, so the aunt can actually keep the little girl, because she wants to take care of her. She wants to take care of her instead of Mike. So they just only wanted money the whole time. That's why they went to the place to try to trash it. But they didn't know that the animatronics were there the whole time and that they were alive. Yeah. And so all of them, they did not make it out. Even the sister, I think they were about the same age. I'm not really sure if he is the oldest sibling, but she did not make it out. The younger sister actually befriended the animatronics because they were kids as well. There were ghosts trapped inside the animatronics. I'm not really sure how they got there, but I don't know, they just did. And also the kidnapper, they addressed him as like the yellow rabbit, the huge yellow rabbit. Like I said, Matthew Lillard's character, he was the main villain of this movie, and he was the kidnapper. And so the only way that can stop them, it was the drawings that the little sister of Mike had. Like, she showed the animatronics or the kids the photo that she drew, supposedly that the yellow rabbit was hurting them, that he was the enemy the whole time. It wasn't anybody else other than him. And so that was basically it for this story. The animatronics attacked the yellow rabbit, and that was about it. And also the cop lady, she actually did get stabbed by her own father, which was insane. I thought probably she might have died, but no, she actually didn't. She survived. And this was, I don't know, it was kind of confusing as well, because now that Mike already knew about the cop, that she was helping her father the whole time, it was kind of confusing. Why would he still help her? Why didn't he go to the actual police and actually report her for what she was doing this whole time? It was years since this was happening. Probably Mike should have gone to the actual policeman and got her arrested or something like that. But nothing really happened. Nothing ever really happened like that. And there was one thing as well that was kind of iffy. We never really didn't get what happened with his brother, his younger brother. Did he got killed by the kidnapper? Did he run away? Where is he? They never really answered that question in the movie. And that is why, guys, I have to give this movie a 5 out of 10. I was entertained for some time, for some scenes in this movie. But like overall, I don't know. It just seems like you can actually just skip this movie. I prefer you watch Nicolas Cage's movie called Willy's Wonderland. I'm not sure if that's the proper title, but I feel like that one was kind of more better than this one. But yeah, man, that's what I think about that movie. A 5 out of 10 I'll give it. And yeah, that's it for that one. Oh, and I've also seen The Exorcist Believer. I'll just go briefly with that one. I don't really have much to talk about it, but I gotta say I'll give that one a 6 out of 10. And like the story, it was kind of predictable in a way. Like the two girls, they did get possessed, and then they got her, and then they got them back. One of them survived the exorcism, but like the thing that I did not like about that movie is that they brought a character from the original movie, they brought her back, and then they messed her up. Like the character got her eyes gouged by one of the girls. Why? Why they did that? Like I feel like maybe they should have just left that character alone, and they could have just continued with this story by itself. Like this should have been a standalone story, like a spin-off or something. There was no need to bring her back, to be honest. So yeah, that's what I did not really get, why they did that. But supposedly they are gonna make 2 more movies for The Exorcist. I'm not sure how they're gonna turn out to be, but I don't know, man. Hopefully they do turn out good. I don't really hate on movies, guys. I just give you my opinion on what I think about them. Like I said, I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10 for The Exorcist Believer, and for Five Nights, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Now, switching gears, guys, I'm going to speak to you about this fight. This long-awaited fight. Not really. It wasn't really long-awaited, and probably nobody asked for it. It is Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Both of them are actually going to fight in a bit. While I'm recording this podcast, they're about to fight in a bit. Since the fight takes place in Saudi Arabia and I record my podcast around like 4:30 in the afternoon, they're about to fight, and I'm just going to give you my prediction. Probably could be wrong, but I probably could be right. I think that Tyson Fury is going to take this fight. He has to, okay? He has to take this fight. It should not be a hard fight for him because he has been boxing since he was young. This is his sport. Francis, I believe he just started in boxing, and he's a UFC guy. I know that his dream was always to be a boxer, and that his idol was always Mike Tyson. Like when he was young, around when he was 10 years old in Cameroon, Africa, he heard of the name Mike Tyson. He always heard his name, that he was a knockout artist, and that was like his idol. There was no newspapers that he read, and he didn't have any TV. But once, when he turned like 20 years old, and I believe that he moved from Africa, that's when he learned about him. He started watching his fights, and that's when he thought, oh man, I want to be like this guy one day. The only reason why he became a UFC fighter was because it was something that came to him. UFC was just like I want to say his passion, but it was just like a secondary thing. UFC is something that he is good at, but boxing has always been his dream. It has always been his dream. And the crazy part is that Mike Tyson became his trainer for this fight, which was cool. And the crazy part is, John Fury, the father of Tyson Fury, he named his son because of Mike Tyson. That's crazy, man. And now that Francis, his idol was Mike Tyson, he's training him to fight the guy that was named after him, which is Tyson Fury. Yeah, crazy, right? But yeah, I do believe that Tyson Fury should win this fight. Probably he's going to get a stoppage, like a round 6 stoppage, I believe. I don't know. What I think that probably Francis, he's going to come out swinging for the first 3 rounds. And probably he might get tired around round 6. And that's why I believe that Tyson Fury is going to stop him. He probably might knock him out. No, never mind. He's just going to knock him down, not KO him. He has never been KO'd before. Francis Ngannou, he has never been KO'd before. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to get KO'd. So that's what I think about that fight. And let's see how it goes, man. Hopefully I'm right. That would be crazy, though, if Francis actually beats him. But we will see. I'll let you know what happens on the next podcast. And yeah, guys, that is it for this podcast. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you did made it this far, guys, make sure to follow this podcast on wherever platform you are listening to it. If you are listening to it on Pandora, YouTube, or Spotify, make sure to follow it. And also recommend this podcast to a friend or a neighbor that actually likes listening to horror stuff or combat sports. Maybe they will enjoy this podcast as much as you do as well. And that's it, guys. Again, thank you so much for listening. Hope you come back next week. Every single week, I post one episode on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. That is it, guys. I'm out. Take care and live to the fullest. Bye.